Hey, good afternoon. This is Mark Kralovich, author of A Cabin on 40 Acres, which is currently available through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, really anywhere books are available. Also available through my publisher's website, which is archwaypublishing.com. You can do their search in their book library and you can find it and purchase it right then and there. Softcover is currently available. Ebook will be coming out in probably the next 2 weeks, so we'll talk more as that rolls out. So chapter 2 of the book is the wish list. It basically is what is going to help you narrow down what sort of properties you're looking to look at. Now, obviously, you can't just go and look at every single property that's out there. You have to figure out what it is and what specifics you want on that property that are going to make you happy and suit your family's needs and maybe the needs of the following generations. So key one is budget. How much do you have to spend? That is definitely going to dictate how large a parcel you can buy and where that parcel is. For instance, Pennsylvania tends to be more expensive than New York, and New Jersey tends to be more expensive than either of those two states. So your budget is going to dictate not only what size parcel, but where that parcel is going to be located. Which leads us to the next piece, which is travel. How far are you comfortable going? Initially in my search, I was thinking, yeah, 4 hours, not bad. But my family was like, no, that's not going to work. So we ended up making it less than a 3 hour window. And again, when you're thinking about time frames or travel distance, you have to think, is this going to be someplace I'm just going up to and for a couple of weeks? If that's the case, if a 3-4 hour drive, no big deal if you're going up there for an extended period of time. But if it's someplace you're looking to get to just on the weekends, 4 hour drive might be a bit much, and you might want to look at properties within a 2 to 2.5 hour radius. Now, how do you plot that out? Well, pretty simple. You figure out where you are, pull up a map of your area, map out basically what would be a 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour trip. Make a radius of that area and all the properties or all the geography that is within that circle. Well, that's your search area. So that now helps you narrow down exactly where you're going to look to make it so that your property is readily accessible to you for when you want to shoot up there, whether it's for a day or whether it's for the weekend or an extended period of time. But again, know where it is you want to go and how far it is you're willing to travel to get there. All right, property size and topography. So again, we talked about budget playing a big role. Obviously, 5 acres is going to be easier and cheaper to find than a 100-acre property. Also, when you're looking, you really want to know what's around you. Are you surrounded by a residential neighborhood where they are not going to be fond of you probably doing some target shooting or even hunting, as opposed to are you surrounded by state game land or farms or something like that? State game land, obviously the ideal. That turns maybe your 10-acre parcel into a 3,000-acre parcel, depending upon the size of the state game land that surrounds you. So that's just a win-win all around. Or is there maybe a rock quarry on the other side of your property, which is going to disturb your peace and quiet Monday to Friday from 9 to 5? So definitely not only know what you're looking for property-wise, but know what's around the properties you're looking at, because that can be hugely key. So topography, that's another big piece. So let's talk about that for a sec. So if you're not familiar with topographical maps, they're super easy to read. When you're looking at properties, generally you can find an overlay of topography for Google Maps, or you could find tax maps of the area that will show you topography. But so when you're looking at a topographical map, the narrower or the smaller the space between lines, the steeper the property is. The wider the spacing between lines, the flatter the property. So if you're looking at this slide, what you can see in the center of it, those very narrowly spaced lines, you're basically looking at going up a mountain, right? Whereas the much wider spaced lines, those tend to be flatter parcels. And that's really what you're looking for. You're looking for property that is as flat as you could find it, or maybe just a slight slope. Nothing that has the very narrow lines, which is very steep. You will come across properties when you're looking that look like awesome deals. It's 40 acres for super cheap. but when you actually look at the topography, it's 1 acre of reasonably flat land and 39 acres that go up the face of a mountain. So really what you're looking at is only 1 acre of usable property, which is why that property is so cheap. So by all means, check the topography, get comfortable with reading topographical maps. It's going to make a huge deal when you're looking. It will definitely help you narrow down your search criteria and help you eliminate properties right off the bat. All right, so next slide is property amenities. So this is also going to factor into what it is you're looking for. Do you want something with a roughed-in driveway or clearing? If it's already there, that's going to save you quite a bit of money that you would otherwise spend to have to clear and grade and stone. So if that's already there, awesome. Do you want something that has septic or a well? Or are you going to put those in later on? Or are you going to do something completely different and go with an outhouse and just bring water up with you or capture rainwater off the roof? Do you want electricity, or are you going to go completely off grid and solar? So how far am I from the nearest power pole, the nearest transformer, and the nearest line that the local electric company is going to have to tap into to get to my property? Or do I have, if I want to go solar, do I have an area that has ready access to sunlight throughout the year so that I can power the cabin and keep the batteries charged that I have? Stream or pond on the property, is that something you're looking for? That is generally going to increase the price of the property because that is a very attractive amenity. Or do you want to find a property where you have a flat area that you could put your own pond in? Again, that factors into what you want to look for when you're searching properties. One of the other really important things is their cell service. And I realize you may be thinking, well, I want this property specifically so I can get away from people bothering me. However, that said, cell service has multiple functions. Cell service means that you can turn your cell phone into a hotspot so that you can work that Fire TV, or you can be on your laptop if you have to do work when you're up there, or you can access your ebook, your Kindle, or your Nook, or whatever the case may be. So in addition, if you have internet or if you have cell service, that does mean that you can buy devices that actually will allow you to have a 24/7 hotspot, so that if you wanted to have a surveillance camera system, it can work off of that particular Wi-Fi hotspot. So again, cell service, pretty important to check into. Plus, it's always nice if you need the sheriff or the fire department or the ambulance, that you have an ability to reach out and call, as opposed to having to run down to the neighbor's house a quarter mile away to use their phone or to find cell service somewhere down the road. So think about that. All right, access. This is another super, really important issue when we're looking at properties. How remote is too remote? Like, are you okay with just a dirt road or a dirt path? Keep in mind, when the spring melt and spring rains, is it going to be a muddy mess that you can't get to the cabin or to the property? Do you want something with gravel roads or paved? Again, all factors into the price and attractiveness of the property. One of the big things to be aware of when you're looking at properties, especially if you're looking at properties when the weather is nice, you're looking spring or summer or early fall, make sure that you check if the property is on an improved or an unimproved road, because it makes a huge difference. So improved road means that it is going to be plowed and serviced during the winter time, so that if you want to go up there during the winter, you know that that road in front of your property will be cleared and you can get there. An unimproved road typically means that between the months of December and April, the township does nothing to that roadway. So they're not going to plow it, they're not going to salt it, it's not going to be cleared. So if you're trying to access your property and there's just been 2 feet of snow and it's on an unimproved road, well, you may have to snowshoe it in or figure out some other way to get to the property, because that road is not going to be clear. So definitely confirm improved or unimproved road when you're doing your property shopping. And some of the other factors, just the basic, simple comfort things. How far am I from a grocery store? Or if I want to get a pizza? Or how far am I from the hospital if something untoward goes on when you're out there? And, can an ambulance get to me, which factors into how remote is too remote. So when you're putting together your wish list, try and factor all these things in. It will greatly narrow down your search, and it will create a list of properties that are easier to manage and easier to set up with a realtor or whatever the case may be when you're going to look at these properties. So it helps narrow down, say, from 50 properties, maybe down to a more manageable 10 or 12, or maybe even less than that fit the complete bill of what you're looking for. So anyway, this is an excerpt from chapter 2 of the book. Please go pick it up. It goes into much more detail into the whole process of creating that wish list. So really, I'm hoping that you buy the book. It's out there to really help you with a property search, regardless of whether you hunt or fish or you just want a place to get away to or park your RV. I created the book because there was no ready resource when I was looking for properties. And I would have loved to have had something like this because it would have made my life significantly easier in the property search. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the YouTube video. Again, click like, share it. And thanks again for tuning in to Grandpa's Cabin Life. We'll see you shortly with some upcoming video content on both Instagram and here on YouTube. Again, we're going to be covering some chapters from the books and excerpts. We are going to be working on projects up at the cabin as the weather gets nicer. And there'll be a lot more content to come. So take care, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.